الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم السلام.
أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بإنصابنا بأبي عبد الله الحسين عليه السلام. May Allah accept your efforts that you performed in the month of Muharram. May Allah give us the tawfiq to learn from the message of Karbala and to follow in the footsteps of the companions of Imam al-Hussein. And whilst it is the month of Muharram, we are 2 weeks away from, well, Halloween. And I'm sure that that is going to be an important discussion for some of your students. And that may come up as a discussion in class as well. It will come up as a discussion in the families, and children will want to know, because they will see their friends dressing up for Halloween. They will see, their neighbors dressing up as for Halloween. And of course, children like to dress up themselves. They want to wear something different. And who doesn't like to get some extra candy, right? So they will want to go in their neighborhood and get extra candy. And you might have a discussion in class whether that is allowed for a Muslim to do or not allowed for a Muslim to do. And I think that that is an opportunity to have a profound discussion, to have a meaningful discussion with them. And if they do start discussing it, you will find that if you have some material to talk to them, that they'll be really engaged in the class. And you can use that as an opportunity to talk about some of the values of Islam. Now, we can keep the discussion a very simple discussion, and we can say that, look, Halloween was part of the Gaelic pagan rituals and part of their religion. 2-3 centuries ago, they used to have a celebration known as Samhain. It happened usually around October time when the harvest was ready. One of the fears that they had, because of the superstition that they had, is that this harvest would be consumed by ghosts or consumed by demons. And so they used to actually wear scary costumes to scare away the demons. And they would turn on fire to scare them away as well. And because that's not part of Islamic ritual, it does not accept Islamic theology, then that is haram. But then you'll get a question back. And these kids are smart. And they're always looking for a way to go around, the situation. And they will ask you that, well, I don't believe in that. Nobody I know believes in that. In fact, we didn't know about that before you told us about this whole history of the thing. And today it's just part of Canadian culture. And we're doing it because we want to be in our neighborhood, we want to be with our friends, and we want to get some extra candy. That's all there is to it. Nobody believes about these ghosts and all these other things that you are talking about. So the question that I'll come back to you with, again, is it jaiz, permissible for me to dress up and go in the neighborhood or go in the school like that? Or is it haram? And they want a simple answer from you, halal or haram. And technically speaking, you may find it difficult to make a case to say that it is haram. Okay? Except under certain circumstances. For example, when it comes to dressing up, if a person who is a male dresses up as completely as a female, or a female dresses up as a male, that is not permissible, that is haram. And if they do that, that would not be permissible. For a person who belongs to one gender to present himself in a dressing that belongs to another gender. Or, for example, a person who is a Muslim dresses up in a manner that is specifically for non-Muslims. Alright? If you go back 2 centuries or 1 century ago, the tie that people wear, that was a very Christian symbol. And it signified the cross. And people used to wear that at that time because that would identify themselves as Christians. In that time, wearing a tie would have been haram, because a Muslim must maintain his identity. Okay? In this day and age, obviously, we understand the tie is not only specific to Christians. People will wear ties as part of the modern corporate culture, or whatever it is, then that is okay. But if a person decides on Halloween day to dress up in a manner that is of non-Muslims, then that would not be permissible. But then they'll come back to you again, and they'll say, well, what if I dress up as an important figure of history, a historical figure? Or a girl will come up to you and say, what if I dress up as a fairy? Or somebody comes up to you and says, what if I dress up as the Maulana? Can I still go?
Maulana is good.
It's good, yeah. Maulana is scary? You're dressing up in this Alright? So what if, I go and do that? Then is it haram for me or is it not haram for me? So they're going to push the envelope as much as they can. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to talk about the values of Islam and to live our lives according to the values of Islam, to live life according to moral standards. That is something that we are lacking today within our community. That we choose certain values for our lives, the values of Islam, and then we live our lives, we make decisions in our lives according to those values. We maintain integrity by those values. Obviously, when something is haram, we cannot make it halal. Or when something is wajib, we cannot make it mustahab. What we have to do, we have to do. What we cannot do, we cannot do. But the point I'm trying to make is that just because something is jaiz doesn't mean that I still want to do it. Just because something is not wajib does not mean that I don't want to mandate it on myself. Because maybe there's no fatwa that says that recycling is wajib. But by my values, I still may want to mandate it on myself. And maybe there's no fatwa that says wasting or not recycling is haram. But I may still want to mandate that upon myself because that is closer to my values. So we want our children to become moral agents, to think about their morals and live by those morals. Which means what? Which means that the trajectory of the discussion is going to change very much. When we're talking about fiqh, this is the ruling, you follow it. That's done. But when we're talking about moral values, well, the first thing is that you want them to think about moral values, to have a discussion in their mind, to have a reflection in their mind, one. Number two, the decision belongs to them. It is not our role then to tell them what to do or what not to do. Three, our role is simply to guide them to the moral values of Islam. Okay? So when an opportunity like that comes up, let's use it to talk about certain values of Islam, and then you ask them, if you accept these values in your life, then would you want to do this on Halloween day or not? The three values that we can talk about. First one, human dignity and self-esteem. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. Of all of God's creatures, we gave dignity and honor to the children of Adam. And a human being is not allowed to indignify another human being, but more importantly, a human being first is not allowed to indignify himself. If I dress in a particular manner which is not appropriate for my dignity, which is completely inappropriate, or I present myself in a manner which is not appropriate for the esteem of a Muslim, then is that something I want to do or not? Something for them to think about. Second value that's important for them to think about is meaningfulness. Right? Everything that we do in life should have a purpose, and it should have a meaningful purpose. Something that is not purposeful in Arabic is called lahu, or it's called la'ib. For example, telling stories which have no purpose is lahu. Why? Because it distracts you from what is more important in life. During the time of the Holy Prophet, when people used to read these fairy tales, they wanted to distract people from listening to the Quran. During the sixth Imam, when people were engaged in music and singing and these parties, the Imam called it lahu because he knew that it was distracting people from worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and living an ethical life. They have to ask themselves that when we dress up on Halloween, what purpose are we serving? Is it getting us closer to our purpose in life or not? Or is it distracting us with something that is not very meaningful in life? So first is human dignity. Second is purposeful actions. And the third one, if they are in a higher age category, they are in grade 8 to 10, you can also talk about a culture of consumerism. Don't you find it interesting that we've got a lot of sales, a lot of the most that people buy is in the summer, okay? And then the next time is in December during Christmas time when people will spend a lot of money, right? And what do these stores do between summer and Christmas? Well, they've got something for us to do, and that's called Halloween. And nowadays I find 1 month before, people are buying things that they don't need, buying candy that they don't need, buying things for their house that they don't necessarily need. And they'll buy something new every year, right? This whole idea of Halloween right now is being pushed in the system because they want to create a culture of consumerism. Do we as Muslims also want to be a part of that culture of consumerism? These are some values that we can talk about in the class, and inshallah let them make their decision as to how they want to behave in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this 31st of October, inshallah. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.